Good evening and welcome back to my Dwarven Fortress of Keskalokil, where we have been testing shooting with the help of shiny new bolt throwers, which have proved to be incredibly rapid ways of destroying crossbow bolts. So yes, we have we've got two of them outside, one here and one here. With the idea being that goblins that have made it past the goblin drowning machine can then be peppered with crossbow bolts, and one indoor one for training. But we do have a variety of problems. One is that there doesn't seem to be a way to attach a bolt thrower to a particular stockpile of crossbow bolts, or to otherwise cause it to only use a particular material of crossbow bolt. So currently our practice crossbow bolt is loaded with valuable metal crossbow. Practice bolt thrower is loaded with valuable metal crossbow bolts. I don't think we can actually, other than by firing them all, other than violently. Including this batch, which are not only 25 well-crafted copper crossbow bolts, but they're encrusted with Marquise cut cinnamon grossulas. I don't know, it's a kind of semi-precious gem, I think. Yes. So we also have the problem that we need that we haven't actually got any crossbow bolts in the nearby stockpiles. I think because crossbow bolts are items and we have so many items to haul that if I enable item hauling, everyone goes off and hauls different things. Now I think we can actually avoid destroying metal bolts by just forbidding every metal bolt in the fortress while we're practicing. But that's going to be a bit faffy. Possibly I should try to make item hauling not distract people with completely pointless item hauling, so that we could turn off some of these, some of the corresponding stockpiles or something like that. We're definitely going to need to practice quite a bit. So another interesting question is, that's interesting, that I think the bolt thrower fired all of its bolts at the leftmost archery target, which suggests that something else has been firing crossbow bolts in here. So maybe someone actually practiced with their crossbow. And meanwhile, yes, I'm wondering also if we can manage to come up with a way to stop the crossbow bolts getting destroyed. And I think there's a general rule that if they hit something like with the ballista arrows back in Nose Tools, I think it was Nose Tools, if the bolts hit something and then fall down one level, then I think that means they don't get destroyed. So we might want to experiment with that. Maybe we make a hole in the floor in front of these archery targets, and then anyone standing below them will have crossbow bolts fall on their head, which will probably be quite painful. Possibly we want to wall that off carefully, but we don't need to want to wall it off that much, because we need people to be able to collect the crossbow bolts in order to haul them back upstairs and send them round again. But it might not work. We'll see. And we appear to have a ghost here. We did do something. Yes, Teshan Dushat has a no, that's a cat. Has an engraving task going on, so they'll get to go. We'll get rid of them fairly soon. I think we could install more bolt throwers up here if we needed to. So I think initially what I'm going to do is to forbid every metal crossbow bolt in the fortress. Yes, even the bismuth bronze ones. And leave the bone ones, which are like, which are what we want to use for practicing, available. Arrows, of course, we can't use for anything. Those are all going to get melted. Well, okay, not the wooden arrows. We can't melt wooden arrows. The wooden arrows are just useless. Yes, I'm just thinking, do we really want wooden arrows for taunting elves? No, we don't. Dump the wooden arrows. Quite a lot of metal arrows to melt down. I think unfortunately the goblins turn up with far more archers than they do, or bowmen than they do crossbowmen. So yeah, so that now that we've done that, we can at least be reasonably confident that this won't get reloaded with metal bolts. So let's switch it back into practice mode. He says slightly worriedly. If I'm going to dig those holes, I should probably put it back out of practice mode. But like, let's experiment. Oh, we've got apparently an elven caravan. Maybe they brought some nice animals for us. No, we should not take. So we've determined that the elves will accept silk, but we don't actually want to trade undamaged clothes with them. We want to trade them damaged clothes if possible. And these are mostly bins full of undamaged clothes. Let's try that one. No, that's weird stuff. No. Oh, that's got at least some of our. Oh no, but they don't like. We think they don't like bee products, don't we? Do we like actually have anything to give to these, sell to these elves? That's metal armor. So's that. Yeah, armor bins are not much use. Does that got any damaged silk clothes in it? No, that's almost all new clothes. How about that? Oh, that's got at least some damaged clothes we can sell to elves in it. So's that. That's all leather, or new rather. Leather somewhat, but mostly just new. Actually, that had some things we could sell as well. That's armour, and that is either leather or metal. If it's metal, we want to keep it. If it's leather, they won't take it. Why is this sorted by... no, that's an unhelpful button that just jumps me back up to the top. That's roughly where we were. That one we can do something with. That's got a nice lot of items in it. That appears to be mostly new items, so we won't move that one. Dull. I mean, we've probably moved enough. It's not like the elves generally bring a lot of stuff we want anyway. Right, yeah, that'll probably do. Right. Amorphia suggests we could burn the wooden arrows. Yes, it is kind of awkward that you can't use wooden items as a source of charcoal. Like, they're still made of wood. Yes, I've noticed our gem setter is haunting the fortress. We're dealing with him. Gods, the giant peach-faced lovebirds are back. Peach-faced. Ah, right. No, the giant peach-faced lovebird has just encountered one of our weapon traps. Yes, I'm sorry. You're now going to get turned into crossbow bolts. So is someone coming to throw those 100 inappropriate crossbow bolts at something? Where does firebolt thrower happen? It's all the way down there and no one is currently doing it. What's that? Oh, right. No, it's just that it's just a large number of slugs. Okay. Let us schedule for mining the squares in front of those archery targets, but with the expectation that we might turn that off again if someone actually turns up to fire the bolt thrower. Oh, have we got that thing memorial made? Right, let's deal with the ghost. If like we can find a space, we may actually have to make some more space for memorials down here. Just clear out some of that earth. Dear, what's that bone doctor up to? Yes, I'm afraid that lots of people are going to be unhappy at death. Well done on the giant horned owl. Oh yes, I might. There is a setting. I should actually have a look at it that I noticed for under the difficulty. We might want to turn it down. I don't think actually turning the difficulty down would make the sieges much less scary, because I think we still get the maximum horribleness of siege anyway. I mean, we can explicitly turn down their scariness, but like all of this kind of make them less prone to building things. But like actually, it was their improved tactical nous and larger number of goblins that were the big problems. I was going to. There was a thing about wilderness. Oh yes, wilderness irritation decay. All right, we do have some. It's just that like I wanted to check that we would eventually, if we didn't cut trees down, stop getting agitated animals, and it looks like we will. So that's nice. Right, so now there is a hole in the floor there, and now my miner has gone off to make some space to install that memorial, and we'll then come back again and deal with the rest. But this means that now if that gets fired, we might see whether the crossbow bolts survive. I mean, to be fair, bone crossbow bolts are cheap. It might actually be best just to destroy them. All right, someone is coming to fire the bolt thrower. Let's watch them. Moving quite slowly. Oh, how sad. That must be a fairly recent death. Did you die of peach-faced lovebird or something? None of these seem to correspond, but we do know that giant peach-faced lovebirds are at least slightly scary. Anyway, kapow! That is a terrifying quantity of crossbow bolts. Right. And now, in that square, we have 15 tons of forbidden crossbow bolts. Excellent. Oh, that tells me another slightly annoying fact. If your bolt thrower is loaded with forbidden crossbow bolts, that doesn't stop someone firing them. Because I forbade all of the metal crossbow bolts, including all the ones in the bolt thrower, and yet it got fired. But all the crossbow bolts have survived, it looks like. I mean, I haven't actually counted them. And now, Udil Erdim Tursed is a siege operator. They have novice siege operator skill. And haven't destroyed any crossbow bolts in the process. So maybe we don't need to make 15 zillion thing bolts, bone bolts. We can just repeatedly use the same set of metal ones. Right, and we've got some space there now to build our memorial slab. So let us install that so as to get rid of the ghost who is still hanging around in a bookcase in the library. And we should also, I think, build a staircase for retrieving those bolts behind the bolt thrower, so that we can reasonably rapidly get them back. Right, so yes, that looks like we have at least two solutions to the, well, we have one solution to the crossbow bolt problem. We do still want people to haul the metal ones up here, but obviously we would have to unforbid them for that. And it would still be better if we used bone ones here, if nothing else, because then we can save the metal ones for elsewhere. And of course, doing this does break up the stack. That none of those are any more stacks of crossbow bolts. They are 100 individual crossbow bolts. Happily, the dwarves will, I think, pick up more than one crossbow bolt at a time when moving them back up to their correct home. You're going to be unhappy because you've seen a ghost, aren't you? Oops. No, you haven't found the ghost yet, because the ghost is hiding in a bookcase. Okay, where's that child got? Oh, the child is... Okay, the child is also removing something from the bookcase. He's playing make-believe in the bookcase, but is horrified about being haunted by the ghost. Yes, okay. She feels enjoyment remembering playing with the toy hammer, but she also is horrified after being haunted by the dead. Possibly.
I feel that M.R. James has something to do here. I'm not quite sure what, but it does feel a very M.R. James kind of setup.
Here is someone who is apparently going to load the bolt thrower. How are they going to do this? Right, Regton Teshin Dushat has been put to rest. This is a well-crafted sandstone memorial to Reg, I think it's Reg, Tensha Dushat. The slab reads, in memory of Reg Tensha Dushat. I still can't do that one on the first attempt. Born 53, bled to death, slain by the goblin Astrog Weak Witch with an iron spear in Etosp Stoslo, the Siege of Trapping, in the year 122. Militia captain of the Treaty of Caves in 122. Lover of nickel. So there is no longer a ghost in our bookcase.
Okay, you said it was coated in water, I thought.
Most, because the mist generator is between the stone workshop and where I usually install the memorials, are generally wet when they arrive there. It'll dry out.
I did briefly wonder if there'd been another liquid malfunction.
No, we have deliberate liquid.
Okay, this is deliberate liquid. Good, right, well, just some of it, it's the right kind.
So are you going to pick up some bone crossbow bolts? I suppose you can't have any metal ones, so... Oh dear, Raven's died. I might have to try to arrange for us to breed a few more, because while ravens live a long time naturally...
When exposed to goblins and crossbow bolts, they don't live so long.
Yeah, and giant peach-faced lovebirds. So yes.
I feel that ravens should be able to take on giant peach-faced lovebirds.
They're giant in the sense of rock-sized, I think.
Right, I mean... Okay,
As in quite a lot larger than a raven.
So these actual size ravens that are terrifyingly large for, like, actual birds,
But still quite small compared with giant birds.
yes.
It would be nice if my siege operator were a bit faster. And less depressed. But, like, faster would be good. Oh, you get archery skill from operating a bolt thrower as well. That's nice. I don't know. I mean, I think archery is the kind of abstract skill that all ranged weapons get you, or at least that bows and crossbows and bolt throwers get you. I haven't checked the others. But so I think it might. I think thus, yes, it's a general. You're hauling. Are you hauling one bolt or are you hauling lots of bolts? Good. You've got a quiver full of bolts. Are those to go in the bolt thrower, or are those just your bolts? No, those are your bolts, and then you're hauling a lot of bone bolts all at once. Excellent. So that suggests that it is at least practical to load a bolt thrower really quite quickly. Ah, yes, I've just realised that Amorphia is actually addressing me, and I should pay it some attention. Um, yes, the game is only half open in that yes, you can lose, and losing is fun, and indeed you will lose. Well, no, you won't actually lose because it is quite possible to keep going until you get bored. Um, uh, oh, you can take the yes. Pink Beast is happily providing useful links. Um, Seb says, "Oh, you just stopped talking." Yes, sorry, I'm reading. I can't read and talk at the same time. We have a cat. That's nice. So I think my siege operator may just have dumped a ton of crossbow bolts through there. No, they haven't. Does that mean they couldn't load it fully? No. I think that just means I haven't waited long enough. Yes, so I would certainly say that there is officially no way to win Dwarf Fortress, but several people have been declared to have won by doing particularly impressive things. I have certainly done many. So is there a difficulty curve, e.g. with the goblins attacking? There is early on, but we had, I think, pretty much reached the top of it in this fortress, except that I somehow managed to break things so we weren't getting any immigrants. So it was gradually getting harder as the number of dwarves reduced. There is, of course, this apparent meta difficulty curve with the sieges, where the most recent releases have made the siege harder. So new versions of Dwarf Fortress make the sieges harder. But that's a very recent thing. For a long time, sieges were more or less constant difficulty. And there are more difficult things. There are things you can do to make your life more difficult. So yes, Forgotten Beasts. If you allow them into the fortress, which I don't, which I'm not in this fortress, can be utterly terrifying. Essentially, one creature that could happily wipe out your whole fortress, or even worse, could ooze some poison, which then your dwarves carry around on their clothes, and then it turns out to kill them 3 months later, and you end up with this horrific decontamination problem. And there are ways to make the fortress harder at the start, like I mean, this one is slightly hard. The fact that we're getting giant animals is because I deliberately chose a savage biome. So the wildlife here is more scary than normal. And if you dig too deep, then you can find some exceptionally nice minerals which are exceptionally dangerous to mine, and that it's technically a spoiler for me to tell you anything else about. But and I've done that once, I think. I think if you want to understand, as in unofficial wins in a sense, look at the Stupid Dwarf Trick page that David linked to. Look up Stupid Dwarf Trick on the Dwarf Fortress wiki, and that gives you some idea. And I think there's another page of like challenges, and certainly I've done this kind of thing not by following any of those. Like, there was one fortress where I decided I obviously needed to build a magma-fueled lighthouse, which entailed like constructing a tower by pouring obsidian into the sea until it reached ground level, and then building a tower on it, and then arranging minecarts that could be pushed up to the top. Oh, and having a room at the top with glass walls all around it so that the light could get out, and then pouring red hot magma into it. I think I may have done 2 games in which I constructed Cambridge colleges. Or rather, a dwarven equivalent of a Cambridge college, which included the most uniform grass I could achieve, and a nicely paved path around the edge, and rules that said that the dwarves weren't allowed to walk on the grass, and staircases with rooms on them. Amorphia said, I don't quite get why the big animals. So different parts of when you start the game, you're presented with a map of the entire world, and you can choose. Well, no, when you start the game, you have to create you have to ask the system to create the world. Once the world has been created, then you can choose where in the world your fortress is going to be, and the world has what are called in the game biomes. Well, at least they're called that in the wiki. I think they're called that in game as well. And these are both things that you would think of. These vary in things that both you would think of as biome-like things, and in other respects as well. So, like, you can have deserts and forests and mountains and taiga and tundra and oceans and glaciers and so forth, and these all give you different kinds of wildlife and different kinds of difficulties. Like, if it's a very dry place, you might find it hard to find water, and if you're somewhere where it's always freezing, then it's also quite hard to find liquid water. And if you're somewhere where it freezes in the winter, then suddenly that river that you were using as a defensive feature ceases being a river and becomes just ground. Or indeed, in the spring, it melts and drops anything that was on top of it into the river. But then there are 2 other variables in addition to the, like, obviously real. In addition to the ecological things, there's a kind of a good evil axis. So good places have fluffy wamblers and unicorns and fairies and particularly cute flowers and so forth. And at the other end of that axis, there are evil biomes, which have plants with eyes and evil weather that kills dwarves or turns them into zombies, and generally, often just everything that dies will rise up as a zombie just to make your life unpleasant, and also have various kinds of monstrous creatures in them, though I can't remember many of those when we last had an evil biome. And then in the other direction, in the other axis, you have varying levels of savagery. So there's like normal, which is more or less earth type animals, and then as they get more savage, you get more giant, scary, but kind of, I don't want to say mundane because they're not, but extending along a mundane axis animals. And so you get things like giant peach-faced lovebirds and giant leopard geckos and so forth. So this one is neutral on the good-evil axis, but either 1 or 2 steps up on the savagery axis. And we're actually at the junction of 3 biomes. We have the ocean here. We have this desert, which has like just bare soil everywhere. And we have this forest here, which has grass and, oops, wrong direction, and if we go upwards, trees. And yes, one of the things I wanted was to be near the sea, because I don't think I've done I think this was the first seaside fortress I've done on stream, though it's not as entertaining as a previous one where we tended to get beached orcas that we could live off. That was the one where I built the lighthouse, I think. That was quite an early game, I think, because I have a vague feeling that my first attempt at the lighthouse site, all my dwarves died of thirst because I still hadn't worked out how to get water or something stupid like that. Yes, we do. There is a nearby necromancer tower, but I'm not sure it's still a necromancer tower. I think someone may have kicked the necromancer out. So anyway, yeah, so that's a quick some guide. And yes, I can't remember if I've done 3 streamed fortresses or only 2. But there have been several others that I've played. Which particular thing or things do you find to be the most best is great fun in DF? Oh, it varies. Really. I mean, as Seb says, one of the fun things is simply having someone else regale you about their dwarven fortress. Like the Dwarf Fortress forums are utterly full of that kind of thing. And that actually means that, again, one of the most fun things about it is telling people what has just happened, which is why it's quite fun to do this kind of thing with. Like, even when I wasn't streaming it, I was kind of playing it in part so I could tell Claire what had happened afterwards. Wildly inconsistent levels of simulationism. Yes, that's quite fun. Mostly, I don't find it a bad game for analysis paralysis because there is simply too much choice. So I will just do whatever seems appropriate, and often whatever seems funniest, or prettiest. I think I built a pyramid in one game because I thought pyramids would be fun. We've had a pub that got very popular. And some libraries that got popular, and this time apparently everyone has turned out to be a doctor. And yes, there are various bits like that brewing doesn't need water, and that forging that steel making is quite. I'm not quite sure what kind of steel making technology they're using. Because yes, it's not, I don't think, quite right for the tech level. They certainly shouldn't have blast furnaces, but sometimes they seem to. And you can make walls out of any material you like, and they'll be magma safe once they've been built into walls. So, like, you can construct a wall out of soap, and it will be fine once it's built. Anyway, or until very recently, goblins couldn't demolish walls. They can now, though, so the simulations are getting better. Yes, and we have books, which are... Actually, this is one of the weirder things in Dwarf Fortress, that often features get added that have almost no consequence, except that something is now getting simulated that wasn't getting simulated before. So here's someone reading about economics. No, actually, they're just putting the book about economics back on the shelf. And like it's a book about the process of economic data collection, and the game will simulate the spread of knowledge about economic data collection depending on how many people write and copy books about and read books about economic data collection. And this is of no consequence whatever, except that people will know about economic data collection. Yes, Nose Tools had big problem of zombie rhinoceroses. Don't think in Dwarf Fortress you can put a hamster in a mug. You can only put well, at least not a live hamster. I think you can't put anything in a mug. No, that's definitely not a live hamster in a mug, because that would be impossible. Right. So anyway, where's my siege engineer got to? Are they still lugging 15 tons of where do they appear in the list now? There they are. Siege operator, sorry. Yes, they're lugging 15 tons of bone crossbow bolts by some weird route across the map. Do you have any family and friends? No, none of your family and friends. Oh, you've got an aunt here. Go and talk to your aunt. That will make you happier. Oh, there's a staircase there, is there? Well, that probably makes your life a bit simpler. All right, now are you stuffing the crossbow bolts into the machine? Yes. And now we're firing them all again. Daka, 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 daka. Oh! Bolts loaded gradually goes down and bolts nearby goes up. Oh, yes. I think the clairvoyant stone carvers were a fortress that I didn't stream. That, okay, this seems to be working quite efficiently now. We don't need to bother about that stockpile where we had a vampire, and the stone carvers could tell who the vampire was somehow. Because yes, the memorial would indicate who had murdered the victim. Right, okay, we seem to have some working practice Dakar here now. Like it's a bit of a walk to collect the crossbow bolts from downstairs. Oh, and now you have to load them one at a time, don't you? Clonk, 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 clonk. Yes. So it takes a lot longer to reload with bolts you've already used, because they're now all split into separate stacks, which, like, we can think of this as they're no longer neatly bundled together, so you can just shove the whole lot in at once. You have to collect them all up off the floor. What is the deal with the practice bolt thrower stuff? Right, so we're trying. So we have this siege engine called the bolt thrower, and we're hoping that this will be really useful for shooting goblins with. And so we've got two of them set up upstairs, facing across the river to where we're expecting the goblins to turn up. But we would like our dwarves to be good at using a bolt thrower, and for that they really should be practicing them against archery targets. So we have some archery targets set up here, and a bolt thrower set up here, and a siege operator here who is, and this bolt thrower is configured in training mode, where it will be repeatedly used to throw to. It will be repeatedly fired at whatever's in front of it. In this case, a bunch of archery targets. Oh, I'd completely forgotten rhythm gates. I think surely Cobalt Relics was what I vaguely feel that Cobalt Relics was one that like lasted a year or so and then everyone died. So it did take a few attempts to get the evil fortress going. So yes, so what we're doing here is trying to train this dwarf to be a better siege operator by repeatedly operating the by repeatedly operating this this bolt thrower, so that then when the goblins turn up, they'll be able to actually hit them with the crossbow bolts. The bolt thrower is a new feature as of the last, as of the major, recent major updates to sieges. And so it's not very well documented on the wiki, so I've been kind of finding out how it works as well. It's better documented than it was last week, though, and that's not my fault. Someone else has been updating it a bit. And we have this slightly silly arrangement where these targets have a hole in the floor in front of them, so that because if a crossbow bolt hits an object and drops to the ground immediately in front of it, the bolt is destroyed. But if it hits something and falls one floor, it isn't destroyed, which is a bit weird, but can happily be used in order to ensure that we can keep recycling the same crossbow bolts rather than having to make new ones. So anyway, where were we? We were going to check on the Tower of Keskalokil to make sure it still had the correct number of ravens in it. We were then going to check on our total number of ravens. Yes, it's possible I haven't adequately updated the playlists on our YouTube channel. And anything that was so short-lived that it only occurred in one stream, of course, is unlikely to have got a playlist. So we have a fair number of ravens. I don't think we need to start breeding more just yet. So our current siege operator is having fun, going repeatedly Dakar. I think we should... Have we got more siege operators? Because we need at least 2, and I think we probably want 3 or 4. So you're already a talented siege operator. I don't think that's enough, though. Let's pick... you've got a lot of work details already. Ideally, I pick a couple of people who aren't currently very busy and aren't currently doing military things. And then I think we could usefully build more. We could go up to 3 bolt throwers up here. Except that we almost certainly haven't got 6 more bolt thrower parts, have we? Let's schedule a task to build 6 more bolt thrower parts. Good night, Morphia. Oh, another raven's died. Well, been found dead anyway. Still the correct number in the tower, though, so that's okay. I mean, possibly we should just, start staffing the outdoor bolt throwers and using them to kill the wildlife. If we set this to fire at enemies, let's leave it at loaded for now, at least until. Nah, let's put one of these in fire at enemies mode and see what happens. I mean, we don't have that many dwarves, of course. So maybe we should experiment with hauling as well. Oh, there's another ghost. Merle Osek Tekud. Okay, let's make them a memorial. Oops, that was the wrong button. Here is a great big fight. Wow, that's a lot of creatures attacking that giant peach-faced lovebird. Pretty sure a giant peach-faced lovebird can't grab a cat by its teeth. On the other hand, we've also got a cat scratching the giant peach-faced lovebird and bruising its lungs, so like that's fairly implausible as well. Militia Commander, I'm fairly sure you have something better than your teeth that you could use for attacking with. I didn't mean your left foot. And then a grizzly bear turns up to help. Hang on, you two, you both have hold of this peach-faced lovebird's head, and you're alternately shaking it around. I think.
While the militia commander also punches it in the head.
Yes. Well, it is unconscious, so they're going to tend to go for the head if they can. I presume it won't last very much longer. There it is. Right, dead. Huh. I feel that our war grizzly should have got a kill awarded for that. I mean, possibly it wasn't the grizzly who killed it, I suppose. There were a lot of people involved. Yes, we do want to get some big stocks of crossbow bolts up here, though. Which would suggest, actually, I now want to unforbid metal bolts and try to enable hauling in various ways to get now an adequate siege operator to get the bolts to where we want them, because it's not going to work if we don't. So we have preferred haulers, which is basically everyone in the fortress. So I'm going to enable item hauling for this and then engage in quite a lot of effort to stop everyone hauling items I don't want them hauling. Oh, we've probably got some elves around we need to talk to, haven't we? Bring a trader to our trade depot, please. We don't have a broker. Oh dear, has our broker died? Well, let's get one of our new dwarves to be our broker then. Thank you, Claire. Are you beating someone up with your crutch? No. I thought you were the one who beat people up with their crutch, but maybe you're not. Okay. You appear to be doing all right in that fight. So let's see what stupid jobs people have decided to undertake, if any. There don't seem to be any yet. Like, lots of people still have no job. There's something not quite worked here. Let's try bouncing this into nobody does this and then back to everybody does this. Right, so someone is now standing by this bolt thrower ready to fire it at anything hostile that might turn up, except there's nothing hostile nearby. All right, we now have a stupid number of store item in thing tasks underway. So I'm then going to turn off various. Why has that got a link to a corpse stockpile? Let's remove that link. I don't think it's going to make much difference anyway. So now what I want to look at, an annoying thing about store item in bin tasks is that it's hard to tell what they're attached to. As in, you end up needing to watch. Oh right, we should train that grizzly bear for war. I mean, war grizzlies didn't turn out to be very effective against against goblins last time. But they do appear to be pretty effective against giant peach-faced lovebirds, so like we can use them for that at least. So I think, yeah, it looks to me like most of the hauling of odd objects to places is probably heading for this stockpile. We might be able to work that out just by looking at what people are hauling. Well, you're hauling a bill and jug, apparently. I mean, I can't really argue with the idea that empty jugs do need to be stored in stockpiles. Though, admittedly, I'm not quite sure which stockpile you're taking this jug to. Like, our major use for jugs is for storing royal jelly in. Does this bill and jug have royal jelly in it? It does, right, okay. That one then indeed does need to be stored somewhere else because we don't have a way to get the royal jelly back out of the jug. I mean, it's possible we can get it out of the jug. We haven't found a way to get the royal jelly back out of the jug. So where are you? You who's hauling, yes, some copper chain leggings to somewhere. Actually, yeah, I'm suspicious because we don't copper armor. Oh, Udis Geshud also needs to be memorialized. Right, it's now underway. Where are you taking that copper armour? Because it almost certainly shouldn't be going downstairs. We don't... I mean, actually, we shouldn't be keeping even our own armour downstairs. Because, like, we're trying to move our metalworking facilities up to the surface, which is where we keep the... metalworking, like workshops and stuff. I think I may just have accidentally turned on all kinds of armour here anyway. I think let's set that stockpile to... All right, that, yes, we're meant to be... Oh, let's just set it to take from nowhere, so that we don't put anything else in it for now, and we'll tidy things up in the future. So I'm trying to, like, find item storage jobs that are going on that I don't want, and then stopping them happening by some means. Right, we can do some trading if the elves have brought anything we want. I mean, they've got some musical instruments, and we're still trying to make sense of musical instruments. Our current trader doesn't know much about the value of items. That's unfortunate. Then we should probably buy things one at a time in order to give them some training. So we think silk is okay, don't we? We don't think wool is okay. Also, we don't want to sell them undamaged socks. That's no good. But this does tend to lead to us accumulating the things we can't sell to elves. Right, we think that might be a profit. Right. That's probably improved things a bit. What else can we sell? Worn pigtail glove, worn cave spider silk trouser. Kenaf cloak we probably got from the elves ages ago. Oops, I think I was looking at the wrong number and wondering why it wasn't turning green. Wow, that's a good glove. Right, yes, we need to do this again. And it's awkward the way this keeps scrolling back up to the top after each trade. But then we are kind of gaming the system slightly here by doing one trade at a time. In order to try to improve the trading abilities of our broker. And maybe cheer up the our counterparty a bit. Right, let's see what else they've got other than musical instruments. No, we don't want to buy a slug. We've got plenty of our own. We'll have the halfway decent clothes that you've brought with you, though. Right, let's see if we've got enough stuff to, enough slightly less good clothes to buy that with. Ooh. This is slightly too many words. That lot is all mostly in good condition. Ah, here we're on to the dodgy bits now. Cotton. They'll take cotton. And silk. And more silk. That's an ex-elven mitten, I expect, so I'm not going to worry about its decoration for once. One approach, of course, is just to offer them too little and let them choose what they want from our stocks, because that has the advantage that they won't choose anything that they are unwilling to take. We've done that before. But it does mean I get less choice about what they take. About halfway down. You didn't bring any socks with you. Brought plenty of mittens, though. I'll have your mittens. Oh dear, I need to turn more things on, don't I? Sorry, there's not much to say about this bit. So, like, I just do it, but it is a bit tedious, I'm afraid. And yes, I know I'm doing this in a rather random order. I do have a rough idea of what I'm up to, but... Oh, that's enough. Right, we've bought the mittens. Don't need sceptres or arrows. They don't believe in crossbows. We're still okay for fruit. We'll have some trousers. Right, let's just buy that one pair of trousers. There we go. I think that's everything it's worth buying from the elves. Just allow our broker to go.
Take a break.
Yes. Thank you, Simon. So let's see what... Let's say... Oh no, but you were being followed by that ghost, so you probably don't actually care. Or rather, we could release you, but you would just end up... being followed somewhere else by the ghost. So what item are you carrying or going to carry? Some leather armour. I mean, we do want to dispose of leather armour. But, like, we haven't got many people to sell it to. What are you doing? Right, that's your own glove. Yes, I'll let you move that then. So is everyone who's storing items in bins hauling leather armour around now? It's hard to tell because we can only tell... Yeah, this is an area where where Dwarf Fortress 50 has got less useful. The dwarves of the Treaty of Caves have attained a general familiarity with grizzly bear training methods. That's nice. Grizzly bears are still not really scary enough. I mean, they're better than giant hamsters, but really. We could do with having like a giant grizzly bear turn up or something. How's your skills going? You're up to competent now. It doesn't take very long to get a siege operator up to a decent level, does it? Right, so that should get us 2 more. Oh, that's the wrong place though. 2 more bolt throwers, except they'll be in the wrong place. We want them to be next to the existing bolt thrower, not next to the existing person operating the bolt thrower. Right. So then we'll have 3 bolt throwers there, which should allow us to train, well, 3 times as fast. You don't actually seem to be ending up shooting anything there. I'm going to release you because I don't think it's helpful. Plus, like, all right, the ghost has wandered off in a different direction. I mean, I have no idea whether the putting the bolt thrower closer to or further from the targets helps. Like, it would obviously take slightly less time to reload the bolt thrower if you put the targets closer. You're hauling clothes. Where are you putting them then? I'm sure I know where you are. I suppose this is the main clothes stockpile, isn't it? I mean, I think I should probably be relaxed about people storing things. Like, eventually they'll get round to the things that I want them to store. You're going to store an item in a location. You're moving quite quickly. We should have you as a major hauler, shouldn't we? Amazingly agile and mighty. Zulban's Onidash. Oh, that's a name I recognise. Oh yes, we should probably at least discourage people from walking in front of the bolt throwers. Like, that's quite a dangerous place to stand while loading your bolt thrower. Yes, people are working on building the other 2 bolt throwers there, so that should be helpful. Can we see what other people are hauling? Yeah, they're still moving clothes around. But, like, that's useful. Let's not be too stressed about what might or might not be useful things for them to be doing. Oh, and we've forbidden let's unforbid the metal crossbow bolts because we think it's actually safe to move them now. And, like, I'm not actually that worried about us accidentally using bone bolts against the goblins, because like the rate at which we emit the bolts, we're going to need them all anyway. Like there aren't going to be enough metal ones to get us to deal with all the goblins. And if we can dump 1,000 bone crossbow bolts into a goblin, that's probably going to be fairly effective at killing them. Are you going to go and drink now? Because, like, you are thirsty. I think you're proving unwilling to stop practicing. I'm slightly tempted to take that bolt thrower off practice simply so that you go and do something else. You did pick that lot up very efficiently. So loading a bolt thrower is about as quick as discharging it, it looks like, if you're having to do it one bolt at a time. Which does suggest that keeping your bolts in big stacks, like metal bolts naturally come, I think, is probably a good plan. Once you've got that loaded, I hope you're going to go off and drink and sleep, because you are not looking well. I'm a bit worried that you might be treating... Oh, you stopped being thirsty, probably because you've drunk the booze you were carrying around with you, which you'll now have to refill. So if I now set that back into practice mode, training mode rather, hopefully someone else will now take on that task. Though maybe not immediately. Oh dear, we appear to have a place track vehicle job, which suggests that the magma moving is not quite working properly. I mean, not that we really should be moving much more magma anyway, because like we've got enough of it there. Let's work out what's going on there. So you are hauling a steel minecart. Hauling it upwards, which suggests that the... So is this... Yes, it's being hauled up to the surface. We should, incidentally, stop trying to do anything with it on the surface for now. But that suggests that the minecart ramp is broken again. Let's do a fairly quick scan of it. To see if there's any obvious gaps. We should repair. This is where we've had problems before with water and therefore trees. Looks like those are all intact now. Well, I can't immediately see a gap in this track. So why did it not? Oh dear. Yes, we are aware of that. We might even have a memorial for them cooked by now. Yes. Sorry. Yep, that's fine. We've taken everything we want from the merchants. Bolt throwers are still under construction. Still no one actually attempting to operate the practice bolt thrower, which is slightly sad. Here are the two dwarves working on the building the other two bolt throwers. Like, this is a restricted area in front of the bolt throwers. I feel that dwarves shouldn't only avoid restricted areas when pathing, but should also avoid them when deciding where to stand while doing things. Look, restricted. You should not try to go there. Anyway, let's set all of these into training mode. Right, no, that's the same siege operator. How about some other siege operators get involved? Oh good, someone else is getting involved. I suppose using bone bolts for practicing is also useful because they're light, and so you can haul them to the correct place quicker. It's a memorial to Merle Ursek Tekud, sorry. The slab reads, in memory of Merle Ursek Tekud, born 63, struck down by the goblin Ngom Screamsteel with an iron battle axe in Etosp Stoslo, the Siege of Trapping in the year 122, at one with Jet. I mean, I am slightly worried that we're going to have a terrible one dwarf shooting another incident here with these bolt throwers. If people are going to insist on loading them from the front. Possibly that means I should arrange for them to shoot southwards, because it's possible that this is like actually just that they're loaded always from the north or something. Oh, maybe it's not possible to walk through a bolt thrower. That might be why dwarves keep going round them. Right. It's a vile force of darkness, everyone. A vile force of darkness has arrived. It's 23:57 though. The army is commanded by the goblin Uzbu Poison Nourish, a competent commander. In 96, Uzbu became the constable of the Washed Flies. With them come Cave Dragon from the dark goblin fortress of Thief Talked. Okay. So how many can we see at the moment? I'm not going to process this entire thing, I think. So, entire attack, siege. So we have, currently we can find Amksu War Cave Dragon, Utes War Cave Dragon, and Ago War Cave Dragon, who have arrived there, and there. And that currently is it. I presume the rest will arrive very shortly, but I'm not going to allow them to arrive very shortly, because I'm going to say that it's 2 minutes to midnight and thus time for me to stop, and we will experience the joys of this siege on Sunday. So I'll save now, and with a slight sense of trepidation say good night. Good night.